Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick, pastor of King of Saints Tabernacle in Cleveland, Texas. We're a Messianic congregation, and I want to invite you to celebrate Hanukkah with us. And our Hanukkah celebrations are going to be on, if you're able to come, Wednesday the 17th of December at 7 p.m. And then on the Sabbath services, which is Saturday the 20th at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and 6 p.m. And we're going to have an end of Hanukkah Sunday, December 21st at 6 p.m. That'll be the lighting of the entire menorah. And what I'll be talking about is, I wrote a book, by the way, on the story of Judah Maccabee and the historical event. What is Hanukkah about? And we'll look at the story of the pivotal events that took place around the year 167 BC with Judah Maccabee and his brothers fighting against the Seleucid Greeks for religious freedom and to protect and the preservation of the Holy Scriptures. So I think it's a very important story. And then we'll look at Jesus, Yeshua, and his observation of Hanukkah, because we see in chapter 10 of the Gospel of John, verse 22, that Jesus is in Jerusalem, and it says it's winter, and it was the time of Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, which is Hanukkah. That's what Hanukkah means in Hebrew and Aramaic. And obviously, Jesus was in Jerusalem during Hanukkah to celebrate this holiday. And this is not the only place where the events of the Hanukkah story are alluded to. It's also mentioned in the roll call of the faithful in the book of Hebrews, where it alludes to the Maccabean martyrs of 2 Maccabees chapter 7. And it's very important, and I do a lot of Aramaic studies, and the Assyrian Christians also observe on a different date, but they commemorate the events of the book of Maccabees. So we'll look at another subject, and that's the menorah. Now, the menorah has come to symbolize Hanukkah, and a lot of people, when they see the menorah, they think of Hanukkah. Of course, there's a lot more to the menorah than that, because God commanded Moses to build the menorah at Mount Sinai. And before it was displaced by the Star of David, the menorah was the main symbol of Judaism, and in a sense it is today, because the great seal of the state of Israel is the menorah. And this is a menorah that I put together, and my father, at the time of his death, we have a replica of the Ark of the Covenant that was featured on William Shatner's The Unexplained on the History Channel. My father made this replica of the Ark of the Covenant, striving to be as accurate to the facts of the Ark of the Covenant, the biblical description, but also archaeological findings. So we have our Ark of the Covenant, and then he went on to build this replica of the menorah. He left it unfinished at the time of his untimely death, and I decided I'd put it together for him, so we had to finish it. I had help from people in our congregation, so it wasn't just me. And we had this is 3D printed, actually, but it took me a while to complete and finish this menorah using the components that my father had made. But this menorah is unique, and people look and say, hey, look, there's a menorah at the Temple Institute. This is more accurate in appearance than the Temple Institute menorah, because the Temple Institute menorah discards the description in the Torah, disregards the archaeological evidence, and they follow medieval rabbinic tradition, which is just not accurate. So this is the only full-size, accurate in appearance model of the menorah on Earth. My father's making that claim. I didn't believe him, but then I looked into it, and it's true. So I want to talk about the menorah and its importance, what it really looked like, how we know from the scriptures, from archaeological evidence, and representations from antiquity. So the menorah is very important, and this is a time so we're going to talk about 3 subjects during these services. One, we're going to be talking about the Hanukkah story. Secondly, we'll talk about why is Jesus observing? Why is Yeshua observing Hanukkah? In fact, I've heard people try to say, oh, no, it's just happenstance. He just happened to be in Jerusalem during... But that's absurd, right? Obviously, the common sense reading of the story in the scriptures that he was in Jerusalem for Hanukkah. So it's mentioned in the Gospel of John, so it's significant. What's it all about? How does it relate to Jesus? How does it relate to Yeshua? And then we're going to talk about the menorah, its connection with the Hanukkah story, and its larger meaning in the Bible. So, hope you can come and go to one of these services. Of course, the menorah is always on display if you want to check that out. And I'm going to have a book on the menorah out very soon, so people can learn more about this important biblical artifact. So I hope you can come and join us at King of Saints Tabernacle for our Hanukkah celebration or celebrations. Thank you, and God bless you.